So, it's interesting. Everybody talks about LeBron's legacy, and I'm like, don't worry about LeBron's legacy. It's fine. But Kawhi's is interesting, BJ, because this is 2 years. They're way too talented to be this lousy at the end of games. We all blame Doc Rivers. Well, Doc's doing pretty good in Philly.
Right.
Ty Lue is no slouch. He knows what he's doing. He's got a title. This team should not be nearly this bad at the end of games. They've lost every home game in the playoffs. You talk about Kawhi, BJ. What made Michael great was not only his relentlessness and his talent, but Mike would get in your kitchen in timeouts. Mike communicated. Mike was verbal. Mike was not passive-aggressive. If there was a problem, BJ'd go right to you. He's yelling. And with Kawhi, BJ, and you as an agent know this, not every athlete is comfortable with being verbal. Is Kawhi just a really talented two that you need a different kind of guy to be the centerpiece of your franchise?
Well, Colin, it appears to be with a talent like Kawhi Leonard. Without question, Kawhi is one of the elite players in the NBA. He is, without exception, a lead player, and his talent warrants that respect in what he's been able to do. I mean, what he's done speaks for itself throughout his career. However, what we're talking about is a personality that requires him to do something that maybe he's not comfortable with.
Right.
And that's to be confrontational at times. And all great leaders, you got to do what you have to do. And, you talk about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was comfortable being uncomfortable. And if need be, he would make you uncomfortable because in the end, there was one thing that he was which he wanted, which is performance. It all came down to winning with him. It was just, he was very single-minded, focused that way. So I think in the end, Kawhi Leonard right now is at a place where he's got to allow his personality, which may not be very verbal. He has to come out, let the guys know where he's at, and be able to really force his will upon the team because his talent is, he's without question an elite player in the NBA.
The old saying in the NBA, a guy is loyal until he's not. And I love Dame, but I think he is just exhausted from dropping 50 and losing. He's still got another four. He's a smaller guy, but he's a terrific player. If you can shoot like that, you can play in the NBA for a long time.
Right.
Deep down, I know he's disappointed. Is this just like one bad night? Or, as somebody who's an agent, there's going to be a lot of suitors. There's going to be people in his ear, BJ. They're going to be like, Dame, you're 30, bruh. You got to move. What do you think transpires here?
Well, I think there will be a lot of fillers and a lot of takers for a talent like Damian Lillard throughout the NBA. However, Damian has shown the ability, he's very loyal. And he's been very loyal to the organization. And he's a competitor at the highest level. What he did in this last series, he's just an amazing, amazing competitor. What he was able to do and score the way he's able to score. However, I think, Colin, you made some great points. He's got to figure out at this next phase of his career, he's roughly around 30, 31 years of age. How much longer can a smaller guy continue to play and move? And these guys seem like they're getting faster and faster every year, like Ja Morant, so forth and so on. So he's at a place in his career where he's saying, I got to be able to make a run at the next 3 to 4 years. And what's going to give me the best the best chances to do that and achieve, because you clearly know the way he plays, he has one focus. He wants to win, and he shows up every night. So I think he has to sit down. Right now he's very emotional. So, over the summer, whenever the time is right, I think he will sit down and make the best move that, he feels will be comfortable for him moving forward with his career.
It's interesting. I'm going to throw a theory out to you, and you tell me if it's wrong. I have no problem. I really don't. Of you ripping my theory. So here goes. It's really hard to find a great player like Dame. It's hard to find a number two. Finding a Pippen's hard. And I argue, Mark Cuban's a smart guy. They could never get Dirk a two in his prime. They can't find Dame. Portland's drafted a lot of good players. They can't find Dame a two. It's hard. And I look at Luka and I think, listen, man, they thought Porzingis was a two. He's an expensive three. That's what he's become. Is it harder as somebody who's an agent? Because it used to be you could get 3 and 4 years of tape out of a college guy. If you screw that up as a scout, you're a bad scout. Now I get, if I'm lucky, 30 college games of tape. That's all I get. So there's more whiffs in the draft. We're asking, the NFL scout, I get 4 years of tape. I better not screw up that linebacker. NBA scouts getting 30 games. 99% of the players that Jalen Suggs at Gonzaga played against are not NBA guys. How do I know I was going to play against NBA guys? So that finding that two may be tougher now than it was in the MJ era. Am I right or wrong on that?
Colin, you're absolutely right. Finding a star player is a very difficult thing, especially today, because there's just not enough tape. There's not enough tape on these guys to actually properly evaluate. You don't know, who's who. I mean, you look at Jokic. Jokic was a second-round pick, okay? And he could possibly or potentially be the MVP this year in the NBA. You look at players, some of these players aren't drafted. The players coming from Europe. Players are coming from all over. There's just not a traditional way to properly evaluate players in a league where you're seeing the players get younger and younger and younger. So you're absolutely right. Finding a number one player is very, very difficult. Finding a number two player, it's almost impossible the way these guys are playing. You got to find combination. And then, Colin, there's a thing called chemistry. You got to find guys where it just works. We don't know why it works, but it works. So, Luka Dončić, I had an opportunity to watch this young man for many years over in Europe. I thought he was going to be a good player. Did I think he was going to be this Luka that we're currently seeing? No. But you know what? Suddenly he's ascended to this level. I saw Giannis play over in Greece. Did I think he was going to be back-to-back MVP? The answer is no. So again, it's very difficult. But when you find them, you roll with it. And you know what? It's hard to put these combinations together because that's the one thing that the analytics doesn't show. The chemistry and the bringing a team together that works for the entire group.
You're a perfect guest today. I was just talking about this last hour with Joy, is that not only was LeBron great in his prime, but he had a superpower. He could tell Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, or he'd get on the phone and say, I want to play with you. And Chris Bosh and Kevin Love, in their prime, would go play with LeBron, give up stats, give up points. Literally, Chris Bosh, there were nights he had to be LeBron's valet. And he's a first-team All-NBA guy. Kevin Love was a perennial 25-12 guy. LeBron now, if he called a John Morant, John would be like, you're old. You're my Robin. I'm not your Robin. And I watched LeBron last night, and I thought the imagery, this as an agent, everybody wants to play with John Morant now. Everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to play with Luka. I think a lot of the stars, they would take LeBron's call out of respect, but why would I saddle myself to LeBron? I think the titles are done. I think the Lakers will blow it up and start over, but I watched last night. It's no knock on him, but the superpower of attracting a top 5 player, BJ, I think it's over. That's my interpretation. Your thoughts?
Well, I think age catches up with all of us. And certainly let's not, this is a very vulnerable state that LeBron is in because he's been great for so long. But, let's call it like it is. LeBron is getting older. And once you get older, the games in which you're able to carry a game and close a game, it begins to diminish. And that's what you're seeing. LeBron James, without question, can still finish a game. But now he's at a place in his career where having to carry a 48-minute game for 82 games or the regular season, in the case we're talking about here with these shortened seasons that we have, it's getting very difficult for him. You add an injury there, and you can see how difficult it is. So I think it's important for the Lakers right now, if they're going to continue to compete for championships, Anthony Davis is going to have to be the best player on the team, in particular in the regular season. He's going to have to carry the game, which will allow LeBron James to do what LeBron James can do right now. Still at this level, he can finish a game. But getting there and playing and doing the regular season and all those things, look, we all get older. And once you get older, your body doesn't heal. Father time doesn't pass anyone. So it's just getting more difficult for him in that regard. But still, LeBron James is still an elite player at this league, even at his age. He's coming into year 19. But right now, it's getting more and more difficult for him to do that on a very consistent basis, or what we've come to expect from LeBron James.
BJ Armstrong, have a great weekend. Always love having you on the show. Perfect guy today, 3-time champ. Good seeing you, man.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.